time for our English morning show, and here with us our special journalist Miriam Zian, who promises us an interesting tour of the week. Good morning, Miriam.
Good morning, Melissa. I hope you're doing great. Good morning, Al24 News viewers. Welcome to your favorite morning show. Today we have the main stories of the week, as a lot has been going on. We'll dedicate this segment to news and stories that happened all over the world, from Africa to the US, right straight to space. And we will have also a little debate with our special guest, maybe a guest that you might know, dear viewers.
And we're going to start from the United States. The country has decided to return Benin bronzes stolen by the British colonial forces.
Exactly. This is the first time the US returns artifact to its home country. Let us have a tour in museums, Melissa. As you know, thousands of Benin bronzes are scattered in museums worldwide, and they have been looted by Britain in the late 19th century. 31 culturally precious objects from a West African collection of a Rhode Island museums have been returned to the Nigerian government. Among the objects, a sculpture called the head of a king, or Oba, that was transferred to the Nigerian National Collections during a ceremony at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. This is something really happy for the West African culture and heritage.
But what triggers me the most is the worth of these artifacts, maybe.
Yeah, so basically, as we have just said, these artifacts are scattered worldwide in museums. They're not in their homeland. And the value is a cultural value. This is a cultural heritage that is scattered everywhere. Maybe this move will actually trigger other museums to let museums bring back the artifacts to their original place, to their homes. The Benin bronzes were stolen in 1897 when British colonial forces ransacked. And the repatriation is part of a worldwide movement by cultural institutions to return artifacts stolen during colonial wars. We can recall that lately Germany and England have returned artifacts. In fact, actually, yes. Germany lately in July have returned an extensive collection of West African artifacts to Nigeria in a very happy move.
So from the United States, maybe now we could talk about the weather and maybe the humans who have wiped out 2/3 of Earth's life since 1970.
A very, very sad news for the nature, for the world overall. So since 1970, 69% of the animal population has been wiped. Very sad.
Seems like the world is living an environmental tragedy right
now. Exactly. It seems like the humans have lost the war to protect nature. So researchers used Zoological Society of London data on the status of 39,000 wildlife population, accounts for more than 5,000 species, and found that population sizes have declined or had declined by 69%, as I have just said. Yeah. Now, the reason is deforestation, bad human exploitation of resources, it's pollution, it's climate change, which led to this very tragic loss.
And all these causes, as you have said, will definitely be discussed in the next COP27, Miriam.
Yes, exactly. This is what all nations want to discuss in the COP27. They are always trying, but it seems like
there's no solution for what the human have caused.
Well, the humanity is still trying, but we need to do more and more to contribute to saving our planet. This rapid decline shows that nature is unraveling, unfortunately, and the world is emptying. Let's have a listen to the Director General of WWF International on the huge loss.
We got to abandon this delusional idea that we can continue to take nature for granted. We can continue to develop ourselves wastefully, destructively, without taking into account the consequences of environmental degradation. There are consequences. And if we don't change course and become carbon neutral on one hand for climate and nature positive in terms of biodiversity, we will pay even more consequences and the price will be even higher in the years to come.
And we continue with the wildlife populations in Latin Africa and the Caribbean. Mariam.
Well, actually, we move to another topic, another matter with the environment and climate, same matter. Let's have a roundup of climate, of the latest in climate change. We have seen Australia, Melissa. Australian floods in the latest developments in climate change. Floods caused by torrential rains or torrential rain inundated hundreds of homes and forced authorities to urge thousands of people to evacuate. Areas of three southeastern states, Victoria, New South Wales and the island of state of Tasmania, are under emergency flood warnings after an intense weather system this week brought more than a month of worth of rain to the southeast country. So basically, the latest development is Australia, and we can recall that this Wednesday marks 2 weeks since Hurricane Ian caused major damage in America, in the US, specifically in Florida. The storm was devastating to the area with far-reaching impacts across the state. Unfortunately, the death toll from Hurricane Ian is the highest since the Katrina in 2005. Yeah. The damage is estimated at $53 billion to $74 billion. This was huge damage, and not just material damage, but also human losses. We can also recall Hurricane Fiona, which was also very devastating, being the second major hurricane in the seasons of hurricane in 2022. It caused over $10 billion in damage, also killed 34 people. Hurricanes have done
so bad to the world.
So bad to the world this year. In Asia also we can recall the monsoon season that drowned half of Pakistan.
Okay, now we move from what the world is living from crisis, and we move to a historic thing that NASA have done. It says that its planetary defense test has successfully deflected an asteroid in outer space. And that is huge for humanity.
A first. This is a first in human history. NASA have succeeded in changing the trajectory of an asteroid. This is the first time such a thing happened. I believe that this is a successful step in human history.
Of course.
The US NASA Space Agency managed to alter the asteroid in an unprecedented test mission. It was actually just a test mission. The asteroid was not a threat to our planet. But they just tried, and I believe that this is a big step forward, maybe to save the planets from future
whatever is coming as threats. Okay, now we come back to planet Earth, and Qatar is expecting the World Cup by the end of the year, and they have already started preparing for the World Cup. Now every street in Qatar has a gallery or an art gallery before the start of the World Cup.
Exactly. Qatar is really ready to host the World Cup. Every street, as you said, every corner has its own work of art, and a trend that has accelerated with the approach of the World Cup, during which football fans may be looking for something to do between matches. Now, I'm pretty sure that Qatar will not only attract football fans, but also tourists. It's really ready for that big event. Qatar is gearing up to welcome more than 1 million people to the Football World Cup, which starts on November 20th.
Thank you very much, Miriam, for all this information. And now I suppose we're going to move to your debate that you have chosen a topic for as the English language.
Exactly. So English, the most spoken language worldwide in Algeria, implementing it as second language is our topic today. Language acts as a bridge for communication and development among peoples of the world. It's a means of communication, it's a bridge. In the globalized world today, there are more than 5,000 languages spoken in 233 different countries and regions. Among these languages, only a dozen is becoming more commonly spoken. You've guessed, English tops the list with over 1 billion speakers worldwide, including native speakers and non-native speakers. Then comes Chinese, Mandarin, the Hindi, and comes Arabic at the 4th place, Spanish in the 5th place. There is clearly a competition between languages, which language tops the other, but it seems like English has been on the top for a very long time now. And the other languages are fearing language decay and language decline. The world was not long ago divided. The French colonizer and English colonizer imposed French and English as foreign languages on the countries they occupied. But in today's world, the influence of the old colonizer is less present as English is becoming the global language. Now I have contacted an English teacher to speak about the topic. Rania told us how did English reach this position and why is it at the top of the list, as well as its importance and role in today's globalized world. Let's listen to Rania.
Well, I think that people are pretty well acquainted with the background story. After the Second World War, two major powers emerged. That would be the Soviet Union and the USA. And that resulted into a Cold War that ended in the 90s with the victory of the USA. However, long before that, the US had been a major power, especially culturally. My mother, who doesn't speak a word of English, grew up watching, let's say, listening to George Michael, Madonna, Michael Jackson. So everyone was pretty well acquainted again with English, especially when it comes to movies and culture and literature and music. And that only solidified after the end of the Cold War, where the US really just peaked in cultural dominance. The soft power they have is, I would say, perhaps stronger than their army. And so all of us, including my generation, grew up watching American TV, watching Friends. I grew up watching especially a lot of African American shows like My Wife and Kids and Everybody Hates Chris. So like we grew up watching English, and that's how a lot of us even learned it. Although I went to school and studied Anglophone literature and civilization and American history, but I would say I really learned it through being very exposed and being very drenched in American culture through their media. At the risk of sounding like a high school written expression assignment, the internet has made the world a small village, and we all feel very connected, and we're now able to share our ideas, most of the time our grievances, especially on Twitter. And so it is very helpful to have a lingua franca, a common language that allows us to do that in the best and easiest way possible. And English has become that by default. And so whether it be on the internet, so virtually, or in reality in terms of multinational companies or really any field, you're going to find that you will need English at some point in your life. And that's why a lot of people are interested in receiving business English courses. And basically just improving the language in order to be able to communicate with anybody, anywhere, at any time.
What hits me, Miriam, in what Rania said is very triggering, to be honest. I myself have started learning English through songs, through watching American and British movies. So this, when talking about whether music, books or movies, they're very efficient in the process of learning English or any other foreign language.
Exactly. Well, English have succeeded to be the first language because it is globalization. It's globalization. Our generation, like Rania said, have learned English throughout pop music, throughout movies, throughout books, and the internet also.
Yes, and that's where the importance is. And that is why Algeria today is going to, in this process of starting to teach little children the English language, because now, as you have said, we live in a globalized world. Not everything, but mostly of the internet articles, the most important ones and research are written in English. So it's very important for young children and anyone to learn English
as it's the language of the world. Now, As you said, language is not just semantics. It vehicles traditions, mentalities. It's a big part of identity. And when someone learns a given language,
it opens one's mind to other.
It opens
it opens the mind to other
different
cultures.
Identities, cultures, and history.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Algeria, as you said, has made a historic decision and a major shift from the previous second language. Actually, Algerian second language was French.
Mm-hmm.
And all Algerians speak French, but now the Algerian president has decided to implement French as the second language in primary schools, not
English.
French, in a historic decision. I asked Rania, she gave us her opinion on the implementation of English as a second language in schools and talked about the people's and students' reactions towards the decision. Let's listen to Rania's opinion.
Well, according to the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, this decision was made in order to, modernize Algeria and sort of bring it into the international community. If we want to be a country that is recognized, that is visited, well-liked, very simply put, we have to show who we are, and English will be a great way for us to do that. It is no way, shape, or form means we should abandon our heritage and our language and our culture. That is something that should be as solid as ever. However, English will be a tool, and that's what I always say. English is a tool that can help us exploit all of our potential, bring Algeria into the 21st century. I think the first reaction for most of us when we heard the news is, okay, this is great news. However, we were skeptical on how this would be manageable or how this would be applicable, but I think they've done a great job so far. I see that most, if not all, primary schools have English teachers at this point. And I mean, we have to just wait and see. We have to wait and see how this works out for the students. It hasn't been that long since they've been back at school. And overall, this is a very positive decision. And we hope that not only primary schools are touched by this, but especially universities. I think all universities should have required English courses. Now, some university students might listen to this and hate me for it. Rania, we don't want any more hours at school, but I have visited several universities in Algeria, and I have found a lot of English speakers. As I said, a lot of people have already learned and picked up the language through exposure to media, through video games, through media. And so I think the groundwork is already there, and what the government could do is only build upon that.
I think, Miriam, that this is a historic decision that the president of Algeria has taken. From now on, we will become citizens of the world. We will be more open to the world, as we have discussed.
Exactly. This is a very good decision, in my opinion. We're going to be open to the world, as you said. Those little children that are learning English now as a second language will become and be part of the world and become global citizens, as you said. There's actually a national debate on English being the second language. Some see it as a bright future for Algeria and an open gate scientific, economic, and technological growth. Some others are pessimistic about it. They think that one foreign language is more than enough. In short, Algerians master 4 languages. It's Arabic, it's Tamazight, it's French, and English. Well, 4 different languages which can only be beneficial, especially with the addition of English, which will allow us to be open to other cultures.
The Algerian citizen is known to be one of the rare citizens in the world to acquire or to have the ability to learn English or other languages very, very easily.
Very easily. Looks like this is a gift and a talent for all Algerians. We were able to be trilingual since a very young age. Let's say teenagers now speak Arabic, Tamazight, French, and English. It's like 4 languages. This is not something really easy for some other people, I'd say.
And now we're lucky enough to have a morning show at Al24 News in English.
In English.
So moving on, Miriam, from English language, we will talk about the billionaire Elon Musk. He's over all the worldwide pages, everywhere on social media. He's literally everywhere, in every domain.
Yeah, he is everywhere. The billionaire Elon Musk, the world's richest man, according to Forbes, announced his latest investment now into the perfume industry. Yeah, exactly. On Tuesday, he said within 6 hours, he sold 10,000 bottles of his branded fragrance at $100 a bottle. The product made a quick $1 million in 6 hours, Melissa. 6 hours, he made $1 million. The
this
next
is very
day,
huge.
Yeah, the next
The thing
day
that
he
I
made,
don't get is that Elon Musk, whatever, he launches something,
Exactly.
he gets millions of dollars
Yeah.
in a very short time.
he can turn anything and everything into a
Yeah.
profitable investment. He just
He's an investment
touches
genius,
things
let's
and
say.
he gains millions of dollars. Then late Wednesday, Melissa Musk announced it had sold another 10,000 bottles to total $2 million. It's crazy, $2 million 2 days. He also made the joke on Twitter saying, buy my new perfume so I can buy Twitter. You know, lately he has announced that he would buy Twitter, then
There have been some problems, some technical
Yes.
problems regarding the confidential
policy
policy
and Twitter,
of the Twitter.
then he didn't want to buy it anymore. He got in trouble with justice. But recently he said he would buy it again and purchase it at the initial price. We will see about
And
this
he's
story.
investing in other space as well, with SpaceLink, with Starlink, with SpaceX, sorry,
Yeah,
and
Tesla.
Starlink with Tesla.
He's everywhere.
He's literally everywhere.
Let's see developments in the coming weeks.
And we finished, Miriam, with Face It Alone. Queen released previously unheard Freddie Mercury song.
Yeah. Queen, the British rock band formed in the 1970s, released a new song. Well, not exactly a brand new song. It was actually a song that was composed in the 1988 with the album, with the old album when the legendary singer Freddie Mercury was still alive. It was the album of The Miracle. The band had forgotten about the recording, but recently they are gathering to see their old things, and they will actually publish a new album, something new on the 18th of November. It is actually the rock group's first new song featuring Mercury, released in more than 8 years.
I might say that
their
this is one of
fans
my
missed-
favorite bands. I have, since we spoke about learning English,
songs.
I myself grew up listening to Queen, so I'm very happy that you have talked about them today.
The song is quite sad. We've got 4-minute track, largely driven by Mercury's emotive vocals. Let's listen maybe to
For ending this morning show in a very beautiful way. Thank you, dear viewers, for
Melissa.
following us. Thank you. And yeah, morning show is not yet done. Stay with us.